Hey, what's poppin', everybody? I'm Tethered, and of course, with me, I got a special host today, Lucifer Damon _PX. What's up, Lucifer? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. And we're doing this very exclusive interview. Lucy says she's not done many of these, so here we are. We're happy to have you here at What's Poppin'. So,
I am excited to be here. What's poppin'? And my favorite video game in the whole wide world, Population 1.
let's go ahead with question number one, if that's cool. So, what leagues have you helped create
Absolutely.
or have been involved in?
Oh my goodness. I think I have created and been involved in probably over 90% of the leagues. So, I mean, let's go back into a bit of sort of Pop 1 comp history.
Oh, yeah, please.
So
that.
the first league was Mob Toyko. So Toyko, who was the first person to create it wasn't even a league, it was a comp server. They did competition. Leagues came afterwards. But he created a comp server called Mob Toyko, and he did comp through that. And I stumbled across that. So I've had the game since week 2.
Right.
And I stumbled into Mob Toyko probably 2 months or so in. So just a little after Christmas, somewhere around there of before Christmas 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Long time ago. And back then, we didn't have private rooms.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was a new development. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there were no private rooms. So we used to do these comps, and people would be all on a Discord chat, and we would count down to hit launch to try to get as many of us into a lobby together.
Oh, that's fun.
And then we would compete alongside other people that were not involved. It was a lot of fun, and that was kind of how it started. Now League started, so I think I can officially say that I was part of the group that started the very first league, which was the Pop 1 Players Club, so the PPC we were called back then. And that came out of the dub Scrim server. So they had a Scrim server, and they had invited other clans to come and scrim with them. And they were scrimming on a semi-regular basis when the clans weren't all arguing, because back then some of the clans used to be so toxic, which
Right.
I'm so happy is not like that anymore.
That's right. No clans are toxic now.
And well, there's a couple, but it used to be all of them. There was one called MTS that was just off the hook, but that's a whole other thing. So we had the Scrim server, and people were playing on that, and we thought, we're doing these scrims on a regular basis. Why don't we start doing a league? This is, we're all scrimming, so let's start a league.
Right.
So it was myself, Ellie Mist, Wizard, Philophosaurus from VRS. I think there were about 6 of us. And Lumbersnack, who was KOS. I was part of KOS at that point. And I came in as the KOS representative. And we started the league. And that was the league that we created the names of the colors of the guns. We started there, which was actually
nice.
my idea.
That's a good idea there.
So we started off with purple. We have purple, gold, and diamond. And diamond was named diamond because it was the elusive gun that nobody could get. So we created this division named after guns. And then this one that was the top, and it was that gun that you can't get. So that was where the premium players went. And it grew and expanded. And at the same time, Mob Toyko had been doing comps, and he'd also started doing leagues. So we decided that rather than compete against each other, we'd merge and become one big league, and just try to be the biggest and the best in all of POP1. And that, out of the Mob Toyko and the PPC, ARC was created.
Yeah.
So that was the origination of ARC, and they took on our naming conventions, and we expanded as we grew and added in blue guns and then white guns and then red. When the reds were out, and our leagues worked that way. So I was with ARC for a while, then I left ARC and I've worked with UGL. But during ARC was mixed doubles.
Oh, yeah.
So Sky Candy and I, Sky Candy and I used to chat a lot, and she used to do these great little single one-off comps, boy-girl things. And we were chatting, and she said, do you think that if we started like a league or a comp with duos that, women, it would work? Because, there wasn't really a safe space for women at that time.
Right.
I myself, as one of the only females, other than Ellie Mist, that were sort of running things, we experienced a lot of toxicity as women. And so she's like, I'm not sure, will it work? And I was like, absolutely it'll work. I said to her, look what you've done with Ladies of POP1. You've created this massive Discord. All these women are in there. I think they would love to play comp in a safe environment. So we initially brought her into ARC, and she ran a couple of comps there, but realized quickly that it was bigger than that.
Of course.
So they moved, and we created a Discord, and it just massively blew up exponentially.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge success
So
today.
I'm very proud of being part of that too. Oh, yeah. Mixed doubles is great. It's a wonderful place for women to start, because often women can feel a little intimidated. So, yeah, from there I went to UGL, and then that one was struggling a little bit, and I stopped there. And then I was sort of sitting around going, what shall I do? And I realized at that point that ARC was folding, UGL wasn't doing great, and I thought, maybe because I've started all these different leagues, I could actually do one myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I could tie in the experience from all these other larger leagues and my experience with the ladies of POP1 mixed double stuff. I really wanted to start a league that was a safe environment for men and women alike.
Yeah.
And that there was no toxicity, because there was a lot of toxicity in all these other leagues too. It was very hard to manage and control. So I thought I'd give it a shot. And the way I did it was I actually approached a few clan leaders, and rather than having the league just be my own, I preferred to be a conduit or a vehicle for the league, just by providing the foundation, but have it run by all the clan leaders. Because often within these leagues, one of the problems that a lot of people have is they say, you're biased. You're making choices based on your own bias, because it's 2 or 3 people making a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I thought if I could get 10, 15, 20 clan leaders, so everybody voted, everybody would be the voice of their clan or their group, we'd be able to create something that was a lot more democratic, and your own personal bias couldn't be in there. And it would also encourage the no toxicity, because now those clan leaders, etc., had a vested interest in there. So CClass started, and we got, I think our first season, we got like 45 or 50 players, and then season 2, we got another 10, and then season 3, another 10. So each season we were growing by about 10 teams, and last season we had 95.
Yeah.
And ARC at its peak, I think, was 110.
Oh wow.
at its peak. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Is that the goal? Getting that
So
big?
it's great. So um, I don't know that it's a goal so much as it's wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Right.
um, but as a goal, it's a lot of work. It's a
Yep.
lot of work, and I couldn't do it without the people.
Those are your leagues. Wow. Yeah. I would say that you've been around, for a while. You've been
Oh,
involved,
I'm
heavily involved. Yeah.
I'm what I like to call I'm like what I like to call a pop one boomer. I mean, we're OGs, but I like to call us boomers because in this world, you've been around since the beginning. It's changed so much. Big Box actually worked relatively closely with us at ARC while building the private rooms because we utilized them to their full extent, running all of the lobbies. So we would actually go back to them and give them feedback on how things were working to help them fix it and get it built quicker, which was they very communicative with us with that initially.
Yeah. I remember being Big Box being way more involved in the community, supported. They even had their own league, or at least a tournament. Vortex, I think, won at the end. Was
They
that
did for the
season one?
Platinum Broods. Yep, yeah. That was an interesting. They called it a tournament. Really, it was an invitational because they invited the people who played, and there were a lot of teams that were exceptional teams that weren't there, and that was because of the toxicity that they had.
Right. Yeah.
Because Big Box is very strict on their toxicity also, which I respect. I respect that. There was a bit of lashback from that, and I remember they started another Discord called the Sweaty Fight Club,
Yep. I
and
remember.
they ran a tournament at the same time. It was so crazy.
Classic.
Yeah, it was great. Those platinum broods. So Toiko is one of the people who has one of those platinum broods. So
Oh,
it
cool.
was Toiko.
Sumachi was one.
Yeah, he was on the team. Sumachi, Toiko, and I think Jerk, G-Jerk, I think were the three that got them, the platinum broods.
Yeah, the only three.
G-Jerk doesn't
Yeah.
play, yeah, anymore, and Sumachi. Well, Sumachi, that's fantastic. And Toiko really doesn't play, so we don't see him in it. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. The Wild West. Now everything's so organized. There's so many clans here now.
It
I mean,
was.
so many leagues too.
Yeah, there's a lot of leagues, that have started up. Ryan runs one. I start to forget the names. There's so many started now. Ryan's got one that's just caters to the top of the top.
Hmm.
And that's going really well. And then you've also got, of course, the continuation of ARC when they started back up again, just taking the top of the top. But something that was always near and dear to my heart was the introduction of comp to all levels, and particularly to those newer players. So even in ARC, when I was there, I specifically ran the very lowest level division to help bring people into comp in a safe, caring, patient environment. And that's what my vision was always for CClass, was that we'd have our different levels and everyone would feel safe and secure within those divisions. And we've really got very little toxicity. People are extremely well behaved, and I'd like to say thank you to all of you that are behaving yourselves. I know it can be hard sometimes, but we need to respect each other. That is important.
Yeah. What do you hope to see in the future of Pop One or just Pop One comp in general?
Um, I would love Big Box to be more involved, or Meta to be more involved. I would love to see Population One reach the the pinnacles of competition, much like Call of Duty and things like that. I would love for us to grow to that. But if we don't, that's also okay too. What I really want is just to be able to continue to provide a safe, fun, yet competitive environment for anyone and everyone, regardless of age, gender, um, anything. I don't care. I just want you to come and have fun. I the thing that really drew me to Pop One initially is that we have these avatars, and for the record, this is my child's avatar because I don't come into the VR chat often. We spent a
I
little
mean, you've
while
never seen this skin in
getting me
Population
into
One?
it. Never seen this skin. But she said it's a demon, and my name is Lucifer Demon, so I thought, fair enough, I'll wear that. But what I was going to say is that what really drew me to Pop One and kept me in there is the incredible way that you connect with people in this game and the community within this game and how incredibly amazing they are. And what is so wonderful is that because we're just in these skins or avatars playing this game, the only thing that you have to judge someone by is how they treat you. That's it. You don't know where they live, how they dress, the color of their skin, the religion, nothing. Nothing but their voice and their personality. And, I'm amazed at, and I'm one of these people that believes that people by nature are good. And I really feel that I experience that when I meet people in this game. I've met so many incredible people in this game. And, then I've gone to meetups, like I was part of the initial first Vegas meetup. And it was, and I'm sure the same when people met me, but, there were people that I met and I was like, whoa, that's what you look like. Because I don't think I even necessarily had a vision. I think in my mind, just everyone's big and strong and tall.
Right.
And of course, we come in all kinds of different packages, just because our personalities are big and strong and tall.
Right.
That sort of cliche, that thing of and it was just so fantastic actually seeing the people and meeting the people and then going to restaurants and calling each other by our in-game names and servers looking at us like we're balmy.
Yeah.
Because we're yelling out these ridiculous names down the table. It, it was...
Yeah, so you said you're big, you're a bit of a junkie for Pop One or anything you find fascinating. Like, is everything just from the a community created, or is there actual lore from Big Box that you know?
So there's actual lore from Big Box, and they've deviated from it. But those who play comp will notice that I always wear the Vera skin, also affectionately known as Boss Bitch. So she is part of the Bureau, which is why I asked you if we could do the interview in here, because anyone who follows the original Pop One lore, you had the Bureau and the Seekers, and the tower was the home of the Bureau. So I was like, yeah, I get to go inside tower up into that top bit that you have to climb over when you're getting ready to go pin drop.
Right. You got the window.
And I actually pin dropped yesterday. I was playing and I pin dropped, and as I climbed up, I was like, those are the windows. But so yeah, I mean, it's great to be here, and I mean, I love the lore, and part of the naming conventions too that we have in CClass, I've created a story to them. I've tried to name things in accordance with something that I could create a sort of story out of. so that the divisions, if you know the story, are much easier to keep track of versus some random name that just really means nothing. So we started with construction, which of course is where you construct your teams and you start to learn and construct your game skills. And then you have frontier, because you're now coming out into the new frontier of comp. You've moved beyond that construction area and you've opened yourself up into the frontier. A bit of a Star Trek nerd myself, so that whole frontier thing and explore brave new worlds
Right.
kind of got me. Then we had defiance, where you've now defied the odds and you've moved out of those two lower levels and you're heading up towards the top. And then we had tower. We didn't have kingdom initially, so we had tower, and at that point that was the top of it, the centerpiece in the middle of Pop 1. And then I thought, how can I name another division after I've created this lore with tower in the middle and the pinnacle? And I thought to myself, well, kingdom. That would be a good one for the top, because now you can be rulers of the kingdom when you're in that very top division. Sure. So I'm all about sorry, my stick drift. I think we've all suffered from drift. Yes, I'm going to get my contact cleaner in there. So we've all it just, I like to have stories to go with things. It's the same with the guns. When I named them in PPC, it was like, well, let's go with the names of the guns and call the divisions accordingly to the guns. White being, or grey. Some people have said you can't say white, you should say grey.
Sure.
I was like, whatever. Going all the way up to red, and then of course diamond division. So it had a story that goes with it. I mean, I love lore, I love stories, I love things that sort of bring everything together in a cool, unique way.
Yeah.
So, and for the record, I would like to say, shout out to Chaotic. Yes, it was initially your idea. I ran with it, I admit it. It's a small point of contention with us, because I had the idea, but I believe, in thinking back, that he was definitely a part of that, and then I ran with it from there. So I shout out to Chaotic. Got to recognize that he's been around since Mob Toyco. Oh no, since Arc. I don't know if he was around for Mob Toyco days, but he's been around since Arc. I mean, he's an OG of OGs too. Love that guy. Best caster. Sorry, second best caster, because Taco is best. I mean, I'm sorry. Sorry. And then, of course, we've got Tethered and Mrs. Tethered. Super exciting, though, to have someone casting as a married couple and bringing their spouse in. They don't actually play, so she's just learning to play, and she's learning it sort of from the top down instead of the bottom up, and I love it. I had the pleasure and honor of playing with your wife last week, and we went through the basics of how to play and the mechanics of the game and how things worked, and it was great to be able to say, all right, so we're going to rotate around here, and she's like, I've heard Tethered say that. And just wonderful. So, I mean, Mrs. Tethered and Mr. Tethered here, wonderful. Also, for the record, all those amazing graphics that we have, phenomenal graphics. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Couldn't do it without you.
That was my pleasure.
Could not do it without you.
Yeah.
So, I would like to send a shout out to, I think, the person who is the biggest unsung hero in this game, from a competitive standpoint, was the first person to create a bot for competition. He created it prior to mixed. A lot of people think that mixed doubles was the first bot. It actually wasn't. It was StatBot. He spent a lot of time working on developing the ability to pull the scores and things out, but he created the first bot that allowed us to competitively be able to pull teams together, communicate globally, and he created that in Arc.
Oh, wow.
So when I first came to Arc, it was one of the reasons why PPC and Mob Toyco joined together, was because Mob Toyco had StatBot. And the way it had revolutionized the ability for us to be able to coordinate teams and things like that was incredible with StatBot. And pulling all of the stats in. And then he since then, for the last, oh my gosh, it's got to be almost a year now, he figured out how to get into the databases to be able to pull all this additional information. And he's been doing all of this for love of the game, and doesn't even play competitively, yet he does this. And so I would just like to say that in my book, this man is incredible, for what he's produced. And now he's created the auto scoring too, which has made our lives so much easier and makes the lobbies now run in 50 minutes to an hour,
Right.
unless there's a technical problem, because all the scoring is done that way. You guys just see a fraction of the stats that we can pull. He's created these stats. We actually withhold the stats a little bit, because we try to help to use that to be able to have our patrons, who, with small donations as little as $5 a month up to $25 a month, gives you varying access to statistics and things. Allows us now to see, how much damage you did with a gun, which gun you used the most, how fast you peel a banana, who you killed the most, who your nemesis is, who fired the first shot, who got the first kill. And we have other stats that we haven't got in there that shows, did you shoot with both hands or one hand, and how many were headshots and body shots, and
Wow.
just incredible wealth of information. So
Data.
we're hopefully going to be
Yeah.
releasing some more data. Nothing like a little data mining.
No.
So it's fantastic. So I mean, without I'm John, who in my opinion revolutionized how we run comp, and did it a year and a half, 2 years ago now, I think we're bordering on. Just incredible, a labor of love, all on his own initially. Then a couple of other EU people helped him out with some development too. Just incredible. So I really think that, So yeah, big shout out to him. If you ever run into him, that is a man you need to treat with respect, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%. Some people have football, we have POP1.
That's what I tell people. People come up to me and they're like, what are your hobbies or whatever, and I'm like, I said, well, I play video, and I always start with, well, I play video games, and they just sort of look at me, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm a grown adult. I live in the suburbs with my child, and I'm a relative, essentially. Well, I'm not a housewife because I have a full-time job, but
Right.
if you met me, you wouldn't think that I played video games. And they look at me, and I'm like, and I run a competitive league. And then they look at me again, and I look at them, and I'm like, well, do you bowl? Do you play golf? Do you play hockey? Do you, those all have leagues, and everyone plays in them. Ours is just virtual. That's the difference. It's an e-sport as opposed to a regular one. So I love it. I love it. I cannot say enough good about POP1, and I mean, I got introduced to it during COVID. Was how I got introduced to it. And I think a lot of us did. It was pretty much my main connection to the outside world. So I think it will forever hold a special place in my heart if I ever move on, which I don't think I'm going to. I think they're going to have to bury me with my computer.
Well, hopefully POP1 has some decent updates, 10 years, 20 years down the line.
Yes. Yes, somebody came up to me in the lobby yesterday, or no, 2, 3 days ago, and said, "Have you heard the rumor?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go. The devs have got something big coming." Now, I don't know if they do. I have no idea, and I don't know if this person really knows. But all I can say is, I really hope so. Because I remember when Metropolis dropped, how massive that was.
Oh yeah.
I was just awed and struck when I dropped into a lobby with the devs and I just sort of stood there and for once in my life I was speechless.
Thanks, Lucy,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
hopping on with us here on
You're
What's
welcome.
Poppin' and doing this interview. We really appreciate all
Very
that you do
welcome.
for Population One, for the competitive scene. You make a lot of news for us, so because CClass is our number one
You know what?
league that we cover.
Yay! Thank you. I feel pleasured and an honor, like I said. And we couldn't do it without the volunteers. We couldn't do it without the players. It's just one fantastic community, and we wouldn't be here without each other. So, thank you to everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later at What's Poppin'. And season 6 of CClass starts on November 29th, so go ahead and check that out.
29th.
That's right.
Yep. And we will be taking a break at Christmas. If any of you wanted to know, we'll be posting all of that too. But yeah, 29th. We're probably going to close registration on Wednesday. So get those in, maybe Thursday, so that we can be prepped and ready to go for the 29th with everyone in their divisions ready to rip it up and have some massively clutch moves. Super
Yeah.
excited.
Very cool. Thank you again. We'll
Fantastic.
see you on the
Thank you.
flippity flop. One day I'll
You got
figure
it.
out how to end that.